interesting week, a week where we've seen floods, we've seen burials, we've seen weddings. In this show, we are going to discuss heavy issues and also lift the lid on issues you do not want to understand. I'm your host, CEO Charles Otieno, alongside the panel.
Dr. C. Yes, Dr. C, the esteemed, the esteemed winemaker. And I want to remind everybody, Mother's Day is coming. And mothers really like rosé. So in front of me here, there is the Samantha rosé. Please get your mother.
Samantha rosé.
And the Samantha red.
Okay.
Wow. Yangu ni machache.
Oh.
Ni machache
Yeah,
tu.
it's true, Mother's Day is coming. And I am Maria, the author of Marriage is a Scam and Love the Original You. I am so happy to be here. I also do a kids magazine. And yes, Mother's Day is coming. Get your kids a magazine.
Wow. Okay, then, I'm Simon Says, the content creator that makes content that makes you smile and think. And right here, I keep it real with all of these guys. And hey, Dr. C looking like a nice little vibrant, youthful you. I can see it. I
know.
you. Looking all young.
I know. Thank you.
But let's begin on a wet note.
It's a wet April. Remember, we talked about April rain song that poem. It's actually an April rain song this time. It is flooding everywhere. In Ukambani, in Makueni this week, there are 5 family members who actually were drowned. The bodies were retrieved. In Nairobi, there's a police officer who drowned. We've never retrieved his body. He was trying to rescue someone, and he went with his gun. We've not retrieved that body. There are very many, the landslides in the mountain region. Yet, in this country, what I know, after heavy rains, there will always be lack of water.
True.
What is wrong with our planning, Dr. C?
What's wrong with our planning is what is wrong with the society, first of all. Yeah, the preparedness, the disaster preparedness. I think this is the point, not to tell the president what to do. This is the time when we declare a national disaster. It is a national disaster. Nobody is spared. But I think so that this is the real El Nino. The real, last year there was the rains and we thought, but this is the real El Nino. And sometimes there's what do they say, what in misery? When there are many people suffering, when we see what is happening in Dubai, a country that is supposed to be so advanced and well prepared, we can cut ourselves some slack. There's been flooding, yes, but I'm telling you, flooding in places that we haven't seen. Even though the astronomers, when there was the solar eclipse, everybody said people should be ready for, earthquakes, they should be ready for flooding, they should be ready for all these things. And because that solar eclipse really did interfere with the ionic, even the communication. That time, I even couldn't that whole week, there was a problem with the communication. So the disaster preparedness, yes, of the country, it's wanting.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But hey, the astrology part of it, or saying that the skies are making movements. I would not want to get all superstitious with it.
It is not what I meant.
I would not want to say.
No, I don't mean the astrology. I meant the NASA, the scientists.
Okay, got
There's
you.
astronomy and there's astrology.
Because I'm like, hey.
So I meant astrology.
No,
Astronomy.
Yes.
I meant NASA, the scientists.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong.
Because you have me thinking, I'm like, what is this? Star signs that you're talking? I'm like, what's going
But
on?
astrology is also, what is your...
Yeah.
Astrology is the study of, not scientific.
Yeah.
They study the position of the stars. And that's why I'm an Aries because I'm born in April.
Okay.
Meaning I subscribe sometimes to you. What is your born star?
Pisces.
Your
Capricorn.
Your?
I'm Aquarius.
You see, the fact that you all know your birth
And it
stars,
means nothing to me.
No, but the fact that you know, now that's astrology. Now there's astronomy. So astrology is where they look the way the stars are related, and then they predict, these will happen. And yes, there were very many astrologists online who were talking about, prepare, I don't know what will happen. But also the astronomers warned about communication.
Okay.
Yeah, the interference in communication, and we saw it. But also, a lot of them, the scientists, NASA actually encouraged people to report, to do citizen citizen
citizen reporting.
reporting if they notice any changes in the environment. So there are very many people who are reporting back.
I get you.
Yeah.
All right, but we're now coming back as we bring it down now to Kenya. When it comes to the flood and the wetness that we saw all over, clearly the water has broken and now this is serious. We're all being washed by everything. But what's coming up to brew at the top of it all is indeed the fickle matter of literally what corruption actually has now led us to realize that indeed we are not set up by our leaders. And please, Kenyans, let us stop expecting competence from incompetent leaders that we choose. All right? We chose them. If you choose a bad person in a relationship and you are forced to actually stay with them for 5 years by legal because indeed you've chosen, lie in the bed that indeed you chose. Yes. Because clearly what you actually even saw is indeed in places like Mathare, what you saw even guys where even Eric Omondi was even there with his own boat, going out of his way, doing even the little that he did, even if it was a cloud or whatever it is that he wanted to do, but he actually did something, while your leaders are just there, we have to put in ways and mitigate and give you a whole bunch of other big words while they're doing absolutely nothing. Lip service, bunch of foreplay, no real action. So please don't expect, I'm just low expectations, honestly, for any leader. Just lower them. Expect to be lied to. Expect it. And then when you hear the lies, receive those lies, and then chew them, and then spit them out. And then you move on with your life knowing that indeed, you are all alone. You're not getting any help. That's a sad truth.
Kazi Mtani should come back. Those people are cleaning drainages. They were youths who were they were paid to work, and those are the people that we need right now to clean drainages. Because the reason why yes, there's so much rain, but also by the virtue that our drainages need a little care, and we will sing that let's take care of our environment, but even when you're a landlord, you always tell your tenants, let's take care of the environment and then get your sewer line with diapers. So people are not very responsible. Let's start with that. So if we have drainages being cleaned, we can rescue a little bit. It won't be much, maybe because the rains are too much, but it will be a little bit. And not excavator fetching water from the roads.
You saw that?
They are fetching water from the roads, when in real sense they can go and just dig somewhere, release the things that are in the drainage that are causing the damage worse than it really is. We can't do so much about landslide because we are complaining about the rain. Also, right now is the time that we should think of how we are harvesting that water, so that we should not hear we don't have water after having so much water that is taking even the lives of people.
See you.
Yeah, I think that our government has really failed in, and this is national and county government. First of all, it should have been a national disaster, and a team should have been set up to look at issues where people can be rescued from the people who are in danger, because the government has a lot of money which they can set aside for this project to just save its citizens from either drowning, and they're drowning, many of them are dying. Secondly, also take others to safe areas, like get them to higher grounds. And for Nairobi, I think our governor, my good friend Sakaja, should have noticed that the city is in a valley. The Nairobi was once called the valley. That's why when you go to Valley Road, the road is called Valley Road. Nairobi sits in a valley. So the rivers were converging in a valley, and Nairobi has 7 rivers. So what they needed to do is to ask themselves, how do we mitigate and save the citizens of this city from blocked drainages, lack of proper mechanism of dealing with people. So they have not looked at Mathare. Mathare also is in a valley. You see, Nairobi sits at the bed of escarpment, sort of a mini escarpment. From the Mathare Thika Road area, you come into a depression. From Valley Road, you come into a depression. From Westlands, you come into a depression. So we are at the middle. The city is actually, it was called the swampy area. So we need to ask ourselves, how did we expand these drainages? The first drainage, which was done by the colonialists, we've never expanded it, which ends up in Ruai. So we needed to have mini drainages with the rain which has been coming to actually make sure, because Nairobi sits on a bed that the waters can actually go. You know South Sea will always be a problem.
Yeah.
You know Madare Valley will always be a problem. You know that areas of South B and these areas, and then at the river will be a problem. So we need, but also for Kenyans, we need to always, when you're buying land, this is the time to check where you buy your land. Because Kenyans buy land only during the dry season. So someone sells you a riparian land, and you are told this land is for 10 million, you think you're very clever. When the rains come, the whole estate is submerged. So Kenyans, be very critical when you're buying land, to understand that you buy land when it's raining, not when it is dry, so that you can tell whether the rains will reclaim, the water will reclaim its course. But I think the government should now put a whole action team to deal with these floods. Otherwise, because these rains, you know, there's a system you can check in your phone now. You can see the number of rain you'll have in the next few days. And I can tell you, every day is over 25 millimeters, which is very high. Dubai, on one day, it rained 110 milliliters. In Dubai, per year, it only rains, their total rainfall for the year is always 100. On that day, it rained 110 on a day. And it's a flat place where they reclaimed from the land. So it's hard to flood.
But there was conspiracy about that, by the way. About that they did artificial
Fake
rain.
clouds.
Yes. Artificial rain. There was about that.
Yeah, but if you can do artificial rain, but when you do artificial rain, when there's also rain up there, it's a double tragedy.
Yeah. That's not what happened, literally. Dr. C, what talk to me?
Okay, so that's an important lesson, learning from, like, where are you buying land and surveying. But now, this week, one of the most important, some important things happened. There was a celebrity who was getting marrying 2 wives. He's the ex-men's conference chairman. Apparently, he spent 70 million on the wedding. And on the other hand, the same day, literally, we had the Kenya Chief of Defense, who was getting married in a very simple ceremony that he specifically had asked for. So I'm sure everybody had time to analyze this. So I wanted us to discuss what are the powerful lessons we may have learned from the wedding and then the funeral. Maybe we start with the wedding.
For me, the wedding, I would say this. One thing is that I think even a lot of people, what we do is we spend a lot of time preparing for the wedding and not preparing for the marriage. And what happens is the flamboyant aspect of it all, saying even a figure like 70 million, you spent even 100 million, or even you spent even as little as even 10,000 shillings on the wedding itself, is meant as even more or less like an outward portrayal that indeed this is the effort that we've put towards the wedding, and hence is now supposed to give us now the outside people that indeed we're putting as much effort as we should in our marriage, when in fact the most of the effort should actually be put towards the marriage, when you now actually now discuss things like how are we gonna discuss our finances amongst each other, how are we actually gonna spend the rest of our lives with each other. Because when a lot of our efforts now are spent in the wedding and the wedding is now done, you see, we're talking about it in past tense, but guess what's going on right now? The marriage. The headache of knowing that indeed this individual is now with me permanently for the rest of their lives. So now the question is this: are you willing to spend more time preparing for the wedding or preparing for the marriage? That's now the main thing.
I have conflicted ideas on spending on the wedding. The younger me, if it was me, I would spend a lot. But right now, it's really hard. On that note, when you are getting married, it doesn't matter how much you spend. It really doesn't. Eventually, you get to that institution, and I don't like calling it settling down because people settle with even the wrong things. But I feel if you are spending on the wedding, it is okay, there's no problem. But eventually you realize that It was a one-day event, and it didn't even matter. It wasn't even a big deal, by the way. Most of the time, you yourself forgets and then start thinking of the important things like, where's my ring? Where are the pictures? And who are my friends after that? However, it is also wise not to do the same. But why are you telling someone who has 70 million to spend not to spend on the wedding? What are they going to do with the money? So if you have the money, it is your day. Splurge as much as you can. What I have an issue with is, why 2 wives? That is the only thing I would have an issue
Why
with.
not?
Let's not diverge there. So I know in terms of, number one, if somebody is spending the 70 million and they have the 70 million, I don't see a problem. And in fact, it's a really good thing. I will tell you why. If you guys follow me on social media, or you know I'm a reality star, and this week something very important was happening. The American ambassador to Kenya, Meg Whitman, there was the American Chamber of Commerce summit that was going on, business summit, and she recognized the Real Housewives of Nairobi. And in recognizing, it's a show that I'm a main cast on, she was saying the creative economy is actually holds the key. Right now, it's contributing 8% to the GDP. And this is what it's a really good thing, because we have all these artists, these young people from school. And what people don't realize is that, yes, we are quick to condemn people to spend 70 million, but you have somebody who's got 70 million to spare, to blow it up on one day. The ripple effect is that imagine how much money has been recirculated in that economy. Imagine all the cultural people who made the clothes. Imagine the artists. Imagine the money that was put into the economy in the region, in the area where this event happened, is immense. And therefore, it's a way in which we rebalance the economy. If you have 70 million and there's somebody else without. And it is so important. This is what I'm always even telling the hotels. The hotels may at the coast or wherever they are. Don't do everything. Don't, like, you're offering a full service. People come to sleep, eat, do everything there. Let your guests leave the hotel. Good. Let them get into the community. Let them buy a cup of coffee. Let them buy some of the artist work. Let the money recirculate. And that's how we shall live well. So whoever you are, I cannot mention your name. Well done. You've contributed to the creative economy.
Interesting.
Yes.
CEO, what do you say?
I think, first of all, I have 2 issues with the wedding. One is that the gentleman married 1 wife. So he's just doing a political roundup. And it's good to hype the crowd. The gentleman did not marry 2 wives. He married 1 wife. And it's a wife he's always had. So he was just going to pay dowry. So most of these things, I doubt whether it was 70 million. And you know, when people are seeking for political office, you must have to create a buzz. And he's trying to create a buzz for himself so that he can run in that region, so that people can know him. And what comes into mind is a flamboyance. If you are very flamboyant, it helps you not to do so many political rallies in the hinterland from where he comes from. So one, I'm sure he didn't spend 70 million on that, what you call a stadium wedding. It wasn't a stadium wedding, it was just the vows they exchanged, and this is the person they were already with. Number 2, it's also good that people out there know that the gentleman was not marrying 2 wives, he was just marrying his wife. But for political reasons, he wanted people for the attraction of the audiences and the crowd and the vibe. And so he had to bring all that. But it is good if you have 70 million, as Dr. C says, spend it so that people can get the money.
I guess so. Do you? And what about the funeral aspect?
Oh yeah, the funeral, powerful lessons. I'll start by saying, like, wow. You know, I'm on record on this show saying, you know, this thing of fundraising for funerals and all that, but maybe I'll change because of this recirculating of the income. You know, yeah, we need to recirculate income. But the most important thing I learned from the speech of the son, Ogola's son, when he said the rituals. In one of the speeches, he talked about the rituals that we go through, especially at times of funerals. All the things that we do remind us that one day we are going to go. And the reasons why we need to have some of these rituals is really, really important. Yeah? Because sometimes as humans, we sit there and we think we are immortal. It has to remind us of immortality and live knowing that what legacy do I want to leave behind. That for me, I took that as a really important lesson.
Yeah. I get what you mean. And one thing about, even you mentioned about rituals, is one big issue I have is that when rituals of a culture infringe on my personal likes and interests and my own desires, that's when I have a big issue and conflict with any ritual that you may have with your culture. I really could care less about you as a community when I, as an individual, have set parameters. Like, for example, many people had an issue with General Gola's preference, and indeed he said that people would not eat at his funeral. He just wanted things done very fast, in less than 7 days. He wanted to be buried. Those were his wishes. And yes, you as a community, you can have your issues. Congratulations. Kanayo. Those are your issues, and indeed, even if you viewed me in a certain way, that's you viewing me in a certain way, and then putting me in a pedestal and saying that indeed I am a certain leader, and hence you thinking that I have certain obligations to you as a community. My first obligation as even as a person, as a father, is to my family and my individuals. That's even now when he said that indeed he wants his funeral done a certain way. And hence even when you now allow the community to dictate and overly dictate your life, that's when you become a slave to the very community in which even you are in. That's why even when you give even pushback to community in the sense that you should actually live your life and even die the way in which you prefer it, regardless of what status that the community has placed you. No matter even the traditions that they may say, they may shout and scream. Because in the end, do you know what happens? The community goes back to their lives. Guess who's left with me? Whatever. I am left with who? My family members and the people who really care about me. Because those are the people who really come back and view my pedestal when I am down there. Not you, the community, no matter how much you care.
When he decided how he wanted to be married, I, for one reason, will respect that. But I would only respect that if I'm the person closest to him. Like, let me say, the wife and the children can have a say on respecting their father's wishes. Because we all know that when someone is dead, they can't defend themselves. That the family would respect. But at the same time, we cannot dish out the community and say they don't have a say, because they are the same people who come after you've succeeded, they sent you a success card and claim they educated you. They always have a say because they assume that your achievements and whoever you are as a person, they have a say on it. I would give them props to decide and do what they want to do if the family allows. Not if the person who died might have said, but if the family allowed the community to do what they wanted, that's another thing. But because the family were following the wishes of Ogolla himself, I feel like that was the right thing to do. But all in all, we have learned something from this. We are not here to stay forever, so make the best out of your life when you can, because when you're dead, there's nothing you can do or say.
Yeah.
What do you have to say? What do you have to say?
Why are we scared?
Don't be scared. First of all, I want to say two important things. That culture is very important, and from the community I come from, there's a way we bury people. There's a way we deal with our people, and there's a way we take burials. And the General Ogolla burial was purely military, and he was not honored and buried according to the tradition and customs of the Luo. This fact is that when you are born and bred, first of all, you are an individual, but you also belong to a clan. The more you scale the national or the leadership board, you become a clan. General Gola belongs to Alego Kakan. Alego is the citadel of Luo culture. The Luo culture sits, Alego was the firstborn of Ramogi. So where he comes from, there is always an important issue where the clan allows people to mourn their leaders, mourn their people. And there is this westernization of burials is becoming a problem to me. It's a big problem to our culture. A people has is defined their own culture, their traditions, their roles, and all this. So when as a person of General's caliber dies, it is time for people to eulogize him. How do you eulogize him? We didn't see Ogola's friends eulogize him. People he played with. The wife didn't eulogize him. The clan didn't eulogize him. This is what you tell people. When I was growing up with this general, he went to this school, we did this. The wife should have eulogized him, how they dated. It is telling people how you lived. That's what comes. And then the community comes and agrees. And you can see these ceremonies are very important. It helps you in healing. So now the son is telling us that this is what my father said, and he's trying to lecture the community. You cannot lecture the community, young man. You can only tell them, but you must be measured. But the Luo community is not lectured by young men. But they are told what they are supposed to do, but you have to learn. At 25, what do you tell a community who's been there over 1,000 of years? You must immerse yourself in culture to understand, and that's why Dr. Buru told him, young man, we understand what your father told you. But for us, from these areas, we've seen these things happening for many years. So it is good for him to mourn his father, but be measured. You must be measured in how you react to community issues. You do not understand the community until you reach a certain level.
So, but what's going to happen, because when you remember SM Otieno,
yes, 87.
He married the lady from the mountain.
Yes.
And what I also did not understand, what I did not know is that also Ogola had married a lady from the mountain. Is this a clash of cultures, or what do we conclude out on this?
It's actually a clash of cultures, because the mountain people, the way they do their burials is totally so casual. But Luos are holding tight into their traditions.
Like your wife, the man is dead, the woman did not speak.
That's wrong.
Totally.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Anywhere in the world.
Well, anywhere in the world, not just culture. I feel like the wife
You
is
must
the
mourn your
VIP
husband and tell them, this is what we say, this is our dating, this is what. It is culturally upright.
Here's the only pushback I'll give you. You can scream culturally upright and everything that you would like to scream from the top of the mountains, but what's precedent? What comes first is not culture first. And that is something I want to make sure. It's not culture first. It's family first.
But you know...
Nah, it's fair. I don't even... Even if I give a pushback is history, it changes up. Congratulations with your history and traditions. No, I'm serious. Here's the... congratulations with your history and precedent. That's all good. Culture comes second. Towards the desires of the family comes first. And that's it. And, and that's why even I do not care so much about your tradition and everything. Because even I'm speaking to you personally, when it even comes to even issues, even when it comes to even issues of culture, if you dare come and impede on what our family has chosen, kwenda huko. I don't care. Like Simon, I'm saying, and I'll even say to your face, and I'll say with audacity because I'm like, why? Simon. Why should yours infringe on me? I could care less.
Even your own culture, Simon.
Yes.
Your own culture.
Yeah.
The reason why you are saying that, I am saying this from the point of experience. I am married to a Kikuyu and a Makisi. I grew up in the city whereby not so many cultures hit me until the time that it came that now you are getting married. We cannot throw away cultures. They will come with theirs.
No, cultures are necessary.
But they're not the community.
They're not priority.
The community is the one that takes charges.
Let me educate
it's
this young man a bit.
Go ahead.
So this is education. I will have to educate you. In 1987, Wamboyi Otieno went to court to bury SM Otieno, a distinguished lawyer from Luo.
From Omira Kagere clan.
Kagere clan. And she said, this is my husband, I'm the wife, these are the kids, and everyone in that family said we are burying SM Otieno in Upper Matasia. Until a gentleman called Sianga said, and I quote, Luos have houses in Nairobi, but homes
in rural area.
Am I clear?
Yeah, I get you.
Very clear. The judge, after listening to customary law, decided SM Otieno was going to be buried by his clan and not the immediate family. Am I clear?
That's okay, but here's the thing. The general had already laid out precedent as to how his funeral was going.
SM,
That's the thing.
Otieno had the same. I will dedicate you. I'll get you the content you can read. These are public documents.
But there's nothing illegal about what happened with General Ogola. There's nothing illegal.
It's not illegal. No, it's not
There's
illegal,
no
but
illegality that happened.
it's just that, you know, decimating a whole culture.
Yeah.
Into one person.
You don't just throw away the community like that.
But the
It's out of
community-
order.
but
It's
the
out
law-
of order.
but
You know, the community, listen, there is the family, which is the smallest unit, that will make the community, which will make the country. You understand? So, you're like, if you decimate the community, do you still have a country? If you decimate the family, do you still have a country? So, we have to look at this thing in a holistic manner, in totality.
I get you. But
So
culture-
cultures are important. Culture
Culture
is
is
who we
important.
really are. Like
And
we cannot forget what, you know, we need to be asking ourselves, even when we are celebrating
Yes.
our independence, what makes us who we are?
Yeah.
If we are gonna lose who we really, really are, who are we? Mwacha mila ni
Mtumwa.
But
And
yes, but
so
sadly,
now we
here's-
have become slaves.
But here,
Yeah.
sadly, here's
Of-
the truth. Culture changes and culture is dynamic. And that is the truth.
But we are
And
not in the
sadly-
point where it
and
has
sadly,
changed.
that's the way things are.
Mwachamila ni mtumwa. Let's take a short break. It's getting heated. We'll be right back on Let's Be Real.
It has been hot inside here. Simon with his view of individualism and what?
I'm sorry. Hey, you have to keep it real, though.
And us, we are culturally upright.
Yes.
Let's get to the second bit of this conversation.
Yeah, the second bit of this conversation, it's sad. So an 18-year-old was pregnant. She had actually performed so well in school. She was waiting to go to the university. So she got pregnant before that happens. And she was beaten by the parents to death. Is pregnancy really that serious of a crime?
Here, my situation is this. The way I view that is this. The parents viewed that this was a moral sin, and hence they attacked it in the sense that their perspective, that they would be viewed by the community in a certain way, going back to the cultures and everything that you guys had in the past. Yes, sir. And then now the thing is, and based on what? The community. So because of that perception that you have about morality and everything, you tend to act irrationally. And here's the reason, here's something even I'll go deeper on this. A lot of parents out there who hold morality on a certain pedestal and use it to whip it to their children now always get the rebellious people and also people who actually even step out of what they quote unquote think is quote unquote moral. Never allow your morals to actually now dictate you to make irrational actions. Because even you upholding certain morals to a certain height can even blind you from even seeking to understand even your own child. To the extent even you can even think of it as valid enough to beat your own daughter just because of some morals that you've instilled in your own little head of yours, and saying that indeed I must also implant them in my children, and whether they like it or not, and hence blind my ability to actually even seek to understand this individual for them now even to now help them grow and become a beneficial person within society. So even that, when it comes to even that aspect of things, is morals that have actually been used in the wrong way. Just thinking that morals can only be viewed in the proper way. Morals can also even guide people to make irrational decisions when you're not able to clearly see how you can actually now impart these morals that you have, which are not innately wrong, but you're imparting them in such a shrewd manner in which they will not actually be received. So also be cognizant, parents, on how you communicate whatever morals that you have to the children so that they can actually have an open ear to listen, and not only listen, but implement them and live in a way that you'd like them to live. Not over here to keep beating your kids all the way to even to the pulp and everything, but still nowadays even kids do need to be beaten though. But at the same time, have a limitation on your things. Hey, wait, you can't go overboard.
Wow.
Is that a lot? Dr. C, was that a lot?
It was a lot. I kind of like, you know, I think, wow, what is there to say about this issue, really? It's very sad. It's sad in the sense that when you look at the teenage pregnancies in this country, when you look at the statistics, are just out of order, like really out of order. It means sexual education needs to be started early. And it means there are some things, if you're like, it's a tough decision on parents, whether or not you give family planning and contraception to young children like that. At 18, you're really still a child. So it points out to, it just happened that this one was beaten and we know about it. Do you know how many of them are dying just out of trying to abort? Out of those panya routes they are using? There's so many things that are going on around that subject. And as a nation, we need to have a conversation. I don't know who's going to convene this conversation. We are always talking about, but even as we talk about family being the smallest unit, even through our system of education and through the religious communities, we should not run away and hide from this problem. It is a problem. Children as young as 10 years old are already sexually active. That is the statistics from the Kenya Bureau of Statistics, Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. That is the truth.
Let me tell you, I think I should be the one to convene this in conversation. I need to. One thing is, I would discourage the family planning on these young girls, first of all. Reason being, most of them are abused. Like when some of these girls rush into things. Like, you're young, I'm rushing because your friends are doing. Also because I know you people will call it awareness, but sometimes the success stories of teenage pregnancies, they also encourage that in a way, because someone will be like, yes, I've been here, but no problem. So and so made it. So yes, the awareness is good. I always say that, but with limitation because it's encouraging it. The other thing is, teenage pregnancies are becoming a concern mostly because even us as parents, we are so scared of starting sex education with our children earlier because we have the fear of, if I start talking about it, they may get the idea that it is the right time to start. Growing up, my mom was my best friend because she talked to me about these things from the earliest of age. And I felt the need to never disappoint her to a point that I am going to have that teenage pregnancy in my home. I felt the need to have that fear of, I need to be careful with what I'm doing. And there was this Kitambo advert of Nime Chill. Nowadays, it's not a thing anymore. And right now, we are headed to a point whereby, this is Africa and we know it's not right, but we are going to a point whereby the discussion will not be, what are we going to do different to avoid the teenage pregnancies? The discussion will be, are we supposed to legalize abortion? Because that is now a crisis, a big, big one.
It's coming.
And having worked in a hospital before, I will tell you this for sure. A lot of our children will have issues having kids because of the fact that they abused family planning. a lot of our kids are headed there. And those who will not be headed there, they will get to that point of view. We are having issues of having children because the abortion methods that we used were not good for our bodies. So the calamity that is coming up there is not the nation should think about. It's how do we start educating these young girls to take a pause in going the family way. I'm saying the family way so that it can get into their heads that it's not something you should start before you are that young, should it?
So what do you think?
I think the parents will be educated first. Yes, because I think the biggest problem is not even the teens. It's the parenting. The parents are forgetting that this generation is totally different from their generation, number one. So what was considered a taboo in their generation is totally different from what this generation can see. So what was totally immoral, while women and men were thinking that sex before marriage was disastrous, the generation, because of a lot of connectivity of the world, people are dating differently. Remember, when as we were dating, you are dating only a lady in your neighborhood, or someone who, there was a limitation to interactions. That limitation was not exposing even young people to many other things because there was a bit of structure and order. Now, in the last 10 years, with the mobile penetration and the social media, the dating game has changed completely. Young people are on the social media, on the internet, and they're doing things. And the easiest thing to do is the relationship, which is everyone is seeking love or everyone is looking for money. And this has become a very big industry in there. So young girls at 18 years old, the first thing you will see is another girl of your age dressing better, has a car, and is flaunting a lot of things on the social media. So what do? You also look for a boyfriend and you throw all caution out of the window. And this is why we've had all this rise of these pregnancies, because of that interconnectivity and many people accessing all these forms and people meeting easier. You remember in that Roysambu incident, the girl from Mukambani who was killed had never met that man before. She was actually 19, left the school to go and meet a man, ended up jumping and dying. So we have so many things, and apart from this teenage pregnancy, so we have to educate the parents that the generation has really changed, and they have to be very close with their kids to tell them, even if you'll meet your partners in this social media space, this is the level. But if she gets pregnant, if it's a girl, and she's 18, I think that's an adult.
Yeah.
An 18-year-old is legally age of getting married. Just take care of the kid and she'll still go to school. So I think the parents need more education than the girls.
And I think even when it comes to even adding on to what you said, CEO, is that you see the global is saying that it's become very limited. Everybody has access to everyone.
Yeah.
And a lot, that leads to more freedom. And you know, when you have more freedom, now when you exercise it irresponsibly, that's when now you get a lot of irresponsible decisions actually being made out here. But now here's the thing. We're just dealing with that gap of the generation where the freedom has been given, hence everybody is expressing their limitations. And now we're already starting to see of course, the repercussions of that. Now what's going to happen is people are more, actually be shocked, there are a lot more people who are more sexually responsible in this day and age because they're well aware of the issues that are actually going on within the society. So the freedom is not necessarily the issue, is now even as you mentioned, is that the parents, first of all, recognize that indeed it's a different scope, and then don't dig your head in the shoulder saying that indeed you should behave this way. Talk to give them direction on how they should behave in the context that they are in.
I disagree with you on something.
On?
Right now, there are so many people sexually responsible to avoid pregnancy.
Yeah.
But HIV is on high rates on the high school and campus going kids than before. Like right now, it's rampant because now they know how to avoid pregnancy.
Yes.
But are they responsible enough to know that there's STDs too? They're not. And that is where you find that in that age area, like the high school going kids and the university going kids, they may, and that's why I discourage family planning. They may know about the injections, they may know about the implants, but do they know about one partner? They don't.
Yeah.
They don't know about the safety measures to take to avoid STDs. Those ones they don't. So they may have the knowledge to avoid pregnancy, but they don't have the knowledge of any other three diseases. And that is quite actually wrong. I always say that you'd rather get pregnant to see the consequences than the consequences that you don't see and might affect 10 more people.
They actually do know, but they fear pregnancy is more.
Yeah.
It's not that they don't know, and they fear pregnancy is more. Even
When is the age of consent?
the age of consent here is 18.
So this was, in Parliament, there was a discussion of raising the age of consent and even alcohol to 21.
Yeah.
But there are people even engaging in intercourse.
But that said, you know, when we are talking about, you know, as societies develop, as we know how our bodies are, I'll tell you by, I think, age 18, my mother had already had all of us, and we are 5.
Get the job done very fast.
That's true.
She was, I think, well, later on, I think she suffered from her back, whatever. But at 13, she had her first child. And it was so until, you know, the science came in, people understood. At age 14, traditionally, girls were married off. Yeah, and that's why we have to discourage and condemn this, because at that age, you still have to go to college, you have to do many things, your health, your body is not grown, you're still a child. So in the strongest terms, it has to be discouraged. But that said, we can either hang on to traditions or borrow even a leaf from the developed world. In the developed world, teenagers are actually really allowed to get access. It is like we either have to face the problem is there, and should it happen, yeah, I know parents who are putting condoms in the bags of the high school children. That's and better. The boys, and you must give them the education, yeah, to deal with the problem if it arises.
I get you.
And that education is important because it's now a condom that will protect them from everything else.
I get you, but let me even add on insult to injury. You think that that's the only issue that's going on nowadays? Well, let me tell you. Well, now even ladies, even when it comes to even access to like even contraceptives and everything, well, some ladies have even taken it further and saying that, you know what, I'm going to look for an older guy. And the ladies out here say, ikona pesa na niza babako, taski vibayo uko kwenu. And that is the truth. And that's what's going on. While babas are out here and ladies are out here even pursuing them. And that is a key thing. Even now, men are out here now even saying that indeed, are these the kind of women that we should even pursue when now these are aka homewreckers and they're doing it with audacity and no shame whatsoever. So forget even think about contraceptives. We are already here. And we're going to pursue this because we want some economic status. So now knowing that indeed that there are ladies out here with the mentality that indeed I will do whatever it takes to get the economic status that I want. And men are out here saying these are the women that will actually wreck your homes and you should avoid these women. Before even I say my take, I want to know, forget even the contraceptives that you're just speaking about, those are the innocent ones. Talk about the OGs now, how to even take in people's fathers.
That statement of they should not be married is wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
They should be.
I only disagree with that statement because you should not be judged by the sins of your past. God forgives. It's a wrong thing to do. Okay, it's a very wrong thing to do to just for the sake of economic status ruin families, get people's fathers. That's actually wrong. I feel sorry for our children. Mm-hmm. But the statement of they should not be married is wrong. They should not be. But if they're doing it right now, that I understand they're home wreckers because they're already wrecking the homes. But if this person already repented and now ready to be married, this is not to encourage you to start so that you can repent later. It's not. But it's wrong for someone to say that someone, because they had sins of the past, not just having the Mubabas thing, that they shouldn't be married. But right now, it's a rampant thing that young people opt for that because of economic status, and that makes you cheap. I always think that you are cheap to think that you need someone's father or someone's husband to finance you. And especially if you're 22, 23, find your own husband to finance you instead of wrecking homes. You are wrecking homes right now. But if you've repented and you're past it, I'm not going to agree that they should not be married. That one I'm not going to.
Before you speak, Dr. C, let me address this. Let me address this, and I'll leave you guys to even go say your bit. Is first of all, these ladies are not homewreckers. They're very smart, opportunistic ladies, and the homewreckers is that the lady did not come and wreck your home. Is that you set this standard that this will be the ultimate thing for your marriage. You guys do not have a way of even recognizing that indeed we can overcome and pass this little side chick at Tupuauko, but we continue with our marriage. So she did not wreck a home. It's your standard that you set amongst you two, saying that indeed this is the ultimate deal breaker. So you are the ones who set that standard. She just took an opportunity. Now, there is nobody coercing this individual that indeed you must sleep with this lady. Apana, no. The lady saw an opportunity, go ahead and execute it. Now, for me, I don't have an issue with the ladies who go around sleeping with barbers. Is now due to the sense of tact, due to the sense of class, and mitigate it and do it smart. For example, you ladies are out here, you're just sleeping around with a barber and you're not actually establishing anything long-term for yourself, and you're just buying yourself like a little phone here and everything. You're being stupid, irresponsible, and foolish. Now the lady who's actually not listening to the guy who's saying, oh, nitakuseta biashara. No, you set up your own biashara and you started getting your own money, and then now you started telling the guy where you will meet him. Now that is a real empowered woman, and I give props to you because Sasa, you've used your head properly. Not like the foolish ones out here. Because I always say, there's a right way to even do that wrong thing. So now you foolish ones who are actually doing the wrong thing in a foolish way, you get foolish results, aka getting a baby from a baba, and then you're thinking that he stay with you. How foolish can you be? Stop being like that. Dr. C, what do you have to say?
First of all, I'll end with a question, but I will start by saying, I think this gentleman had given one of the serious relationship gurus. He said, do not marry a lady who has been going out with mubabas. And he clearly said, this is because they disrespect the institution of marriage. And if they disrespect the institution of marriage, they are going to even cheat on you.
Of course. In
the first place. I think I'm just putting context on that. You talked about the standards that you have put. No, it's not even the standards the couple have put. It is the standards. You went before God or before the judge, and this is a union. I'm imagining we are talking about unions that are recognized either by law, by culture, that is polygamy, and or by religion, okay? And there is a part in the vows, if you are in a monogamous relationship, that says, forsaking all others. If you promise to forsake all others, I expect you to forsake all others. So it is a deal breaker for very many people, okay? And so I just have a question. It's something I've been struggling with. What do you call a woman who is going out with a man, with a mubaba, who is committed in another monogamous relationship, and they're purely there to be looked after?
Opportunist.
Mistress.
Or you can call a prostitute if you'd like.
Yeah?
Yes.
What else?
Of course, you can call a prostitute if you like, but I don't have an issue with the name calling. Actually, even you said...
No, I want the name calling.
I
want what is the street name?
It's mistress.
A prostitute, or even a hoe.
A whore,
yeah.
A mistress.
Yeah.
What else?
What are you looking for? What name are you looking for?
You're looking for slut.
Not slut.
What are you looking
or
for?
Mpango Wakando?
Yes.
What else? Side chick?
Yes.
Oh, so there are many names.
Yes.
So, okay. So we need to call it what it is.
Yeah, we need to call it what it is.
If you know, you know.
But it's okay.
No,
And before even CEO speaks, I want to ask you, you mentioned that forsaking all others. Congratulations with all that. Even for sickness and in health. Even people even live with sickness and in health. But you know very well, Dr. C, there are people in marriages right now, and you know very well that guy's stepping out, and the wife knows, but the wife is staying. And you know that very well. So that lady is not a homewrecker. The wife has decided that indeed, you will not wreck my home. I will stand above you. You are just useful for what's in between your legs. I am useful for building the standard in this family instead. I am actually the one who's actually building the wealth. I'm actually the one who's the household. So you know people will rise above it. So you shall a woman who cannot rise above it. So you've made her into the homewrecker because you've given her the power to wreck your home. She, the side chick, does not have power to wreck your home. It's you who has given her the power because you have not set your husband down and actually now set the standard within your family as to what can break you. So if you allow this kind of break you, that's you.
For once, I agree with you, and I always say that you know, if all women were to walk out of their marriages because of these things we're talking about, there would be no marriages, there would be no families, and in fact, there would be. So it's you, the woman, who will decide what's the deal breaker.
What's the deal breaker?
That's true.
Yes.
CEO?
Well, I think there are very many interesting perspectives to look at. First of all is that it's a different generation. Things have really changed. But if you flip it back, people used to still marry younger women all through. If you go to two or one generation ago, you'd find a husband of 80 and the wife is 50. Even now, you'd find them. Our first wife is 70, second one is 40. If you look at our good Senator Halwale, you can see even the wives and the order. So it is not a new thing to me, where young girls are going for older people. It has always been so. And the reason why they go for these things is because it's above economic, it's nothing sexual. It's about economic betterment of people. They are just looking for money. And we have to empower people, and especially the girls. If the girls were empowered, then they wouldn't look for older men to date them. They go there specifically to look for money. So they're not dating or they're not wrecking these homes because they want the man. They are looking for money. It's only that this man, and I said the other week that if you do not have money, that's why those Mbabas without money, they have girlfriends.
No. Stay in the house.
They stay in the house. If you have a small salary, you will not have a woman looking for you. And even the clubs they go, if it's those maskani or small clubs where these people who, we call them blue overall work, you will not find the women there going to looking all fly and all that. They know where to go and look for men. So it is an economic thing. Let's first of all see that women, younger women, are so economically empowered. They are looking for money from these people. They're not looking for sex. They're not looking for to be married by these older men. They're looking to get some money, either to go to school. And that's why when you tell them to not buy phones, the most urgent thing for that girl, it's a phone. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The most urgent thing is her friend has a new outfit worth 20,000 shillings. A phone and a bag. So they will go for these men, and these men also know, I have 50,000, and this is an amount which I can spend on this girl. And the girl will go back to college looking so, first of all, very fly, has gone to the salon and all this. So the parents of the young ladies out there, if you do not give your daughters what they want, that's how they change and move to look for the wababas. And also remember, not 90%, and if you listen, you talked of a song by Saru, and of course, the gentleman, Fatmo, who was saying that, Nikona pesa kushinda babako. It's a societal thing that girls have gone to that direction because they need money. And not men. In fact, I will tell you, very few men are nowadays, and even women are looking for young men.
But you know, CEO, let me disagree on something. As parents, sometimes we offer things to our children, but it's never enough. Because of the fact that I think the most important thing is maybe educate them that they don't need everything they see out there. Because if they admire something out there and maybe I can't afford, or for some reason, I don't see how I can buy my daughter a 20,000 shilling dress. If myself, I can't even buy that to wear. So because of that, they will feel like I don't have enough money. Only that, not that I don't have enough money, it's just that I know you don't need it. So where do we draw the line of, I know what I'm providing is enough, but what you want, that the reason why you will make you go to Mubaba's, is actually not something that you need. Because most of these girls, their parents are paying the school fees. They are giving them the food. They are giving them the even pocket money. Even sometimes when you go to your parent, I need a certain phone. Some parents do buy. But why is it that they feel like, I need an iPhone 15 because my parents only bought me a Samsung? The drawing the line is the problem to these kids of today.
And well, but even one thing, even just even add on, is that you see the thing was about marriage. You're trying to like wrap a ribbon on it.
And mistresses and sluts, huh?
Hey, exactly. You see now, coming back to the marriage aspect is, if you choose this road, ladies, sadly the wrap up is, you are not someone who's going to be actively pursued even for marriage, even by that even older man, even by anybody younger. And even as young guys, we know the type of behaviors that even some of you even portray. We know what kind of music you all of a sudden like, because you're hanging out with some people, and we know even how even you behave yourself, how you carry yourself. You're not someone who will be actively pursued when you get a little bit older, and then now you're looking for to settle down, and now hoping that someone will not actually have recorded your past. And sadly, that's what you have to realize, that your past will actually even end up defining who you are as an individual. So be careful of the choices that you make.
Even though, I must say, we have some success stories, like the current queen, Camilla. She was one of them.
Yes.
But why, Prince Charles wasn't a Mbaba. But why are we just giving women the names? What are these Mubabas? What should they be called?
See, they're called Mubabas.
So
They're called Mubabas. They're called Mubabas.
what's a Mubaba?
They're called sponsor, actually.
Sponsors, yeah.
So what's a Mubaba? And
It's
a
an older
sponsor?
guy. Usually,
Dating a younger girl.
yeah. No,
Just
between
like-
the age, it has to be at least 15 to 20. It has to be at least minimum 15, 20 years,
15 years,
younger.
yeah.
It
That's
has
a
to.
Mubaba.
And it has to be 40 and above.
The Mubaba.
Yes.
So we are not talking about young people in
Nah.
marriages who are just cheating
Nah.
and just, but we are talking about a financial,
Partnership.
Like,
some financial transaction. It's a
maybe-
transaction.
Yeah, it's a transaction.
Okay, good. So
it's prostitution.
let me remove the queen's name out of it.
It's a business.
Just
That's a
deal.
business, yeah. It's
So you wrap it up. On that note, let's wrap it up, right?
I think it's been real.
Yes.
If you're a Mbaba out there,
Yes.
Or a mistress
or
out
a
there.
mistress out there, we will not judge you, but use a bit of your head, as Simon says.
Yes.
I am judging you.
Use a bit of your head. I do not know what has brought you there anyway. So let me not be the judge.
And Wababas, I even want to tell you, Wababas, please let the side chicks know their place. Keep it real with them, like the way we have kept it real with you. Isn't that right, CEO?
All right, it's been real. We've kept it real. Of course, Dr. Ogola, the funeral, it was a sad affair. And it's sad when a general passes on and dies in a very small aircraft. But we hope that we'll amend and work on our aircraft so that we don't lose our gallant Kenyan soldiers and valiant generals. It's been real. Let's meet next week.